everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Lysha from Lysha Be Creative, and today we're doing this very unique and different fall tie-dye split stripe cup. I actually started this cup in my Facebook group, and so I'm going to show you a little bit of that, and then we're going to get into how I finished out this cup. Of course, everything I use in today's tutorial will be listed and linked down in the description box down below. Check that description box out for discount codes as well to save you a little bit of extra money while you're out there shopping for those craft supplies. So let's go ahead and jump right into today's tutorial. Okay, so as I mentioned, I did start this cup in my Facebook group. We did a fall tie-dye full wrap cup on a 24-ounce plump, and so I did this on a 16-ounce plump. This is a prepped 16-ounce plump, just sanded and spray painted as normal. I printed out and got this digital tie-dye file from Creative Fabrica. I'll list that and link that down in the description box. It had a bunch of different designs that you can use. I just printed it on a full sheet of Waterslide, and although I printed it on a full sheet of Waterslide, I didn't pay attention to my measurement, so this wasn't able to go all the way around, which is why I turned this into a split cup design. So I've just taken my sheet of Waterslide there, and I have submerged it in my water, my warm bucket of water there, and now I'm just adhering that little bit of the tie-dye pattern to one portion of the cup. My goal here was to get sort of more of the spiral section on the split half, so I had to just adjust the Waterslide to be on the cup so that when I got to the open section, that this half of the cup would have the tie-dye, that middle spiral was right smack in the middle of that section. So take your time. You guys have seen me do Waterslide on my channel before, and I will list and link a couple of really helpful videos for doing Waterslide if it's your first time. But Waterslide can be lots of fun. If you haven't tried it, definitely try it. I would say that my biggest tips is always sealing, making sure that you're sealing your Waterslide with enough sealer, which is usually just a clear glass spray paint, to make sure that you get a good seal and you don't get any ripping. So I'm just going to continue to squeegee out any water that may be under the Waterslide with my squeegee tool, and now we're going to cut along the tape line to remove the excess Waterslide that we no longer need. So I'm cutting right on top of the tape, not right where the seam meets between the tape and the Waterslide, just that I have a little bit of excess, and that way I don't accidentally rip into the section I want exposed. Once that's done, it's now time to just tuck in the top and bottom section. I'm not going to cut that right now while it's wet. I will wait until it's dried for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then I'll just carefully cut that with my craft knife before I put it on the turner for one full coat of epoxy. So after that is finished, I did end up mixing a little bit of colorant together. I taped off the Waterslide side and did go outside and spray again this surface so that I had a bit of a slippery or a more matte surface to work with for my glitter application. I didn't want to apply it right over the epoxy because sometimes my Mod Podge will kind of repel. So I mixed up quite a bit of colors there, and I'll list all of them down in the description box, but try and go kind of through the ones that I mixed together as we go. So on this half side, this other half of the cup, we're going to be creating some stripes. So I'm just taking some 1-inch painter's tape, and I'm just going to sort of line up each piece of painter's tape all the way up the cup. I think I had in total about 6 lines, I want to say. And so you're going to see me do every other and then remove the middle piece of tape. And that's just because those are the first 3 lines that I'm going to start with. So I'm just going to finish taping this off using my 1-inch painter's tape until I get all the way to the top. And then we can go ahead and move right into glittering this side of the tumbler. Alright, so now on to glittering. So I'm not base painting this, I just know that I'll have to go in with 2 coats of epoxy, so I am using Mod Podge as my glitter adhesive, and I'm going in with that first line on the bottom with Autumn Sunset. This is from Lysha Creations. So I'm going to let that sit and move to the second line here, and so putting another layer of Mod Podge on there, and then this mix is a mix of Clary Fray, which is from Peachy Olive Glitter, and Fairy Dust from 4K Glitter or Shop Vinyl Gallery. My third and final color here, so we're going to do this third and final line. This is kind of all of the orange mixes, if you will. This top line is Jack-O-Lantern, and this is from Lysha Creations. A beautiful bright orange glitter, just gives me all the orange vibes. I did then go in with a second coat of glitter off camera. Didn't feel like you guys needed me to do that on camera. Just waited for that first layer to dry and then went in with a second coat. So now we're going to go ahead and get our tape removed and go into our other colors, which are going to be more of a dark red base, if you will, dark reds and browns. The first color I'm going in with is Boudoir. This is from Peachy Olive Glitters, a very underused color in my collection. It gives off brown tones, but actually is a really deep red. So that's going to be the bottom color there. And then we're going to move into this middle section here. And this is going to be a mix of a Dark Night from Lysha Creations, as well as by Cupid from 4K Glitter. And then finally, just a little bit of that Boudoir as well. My third and final sort of deep red color has everything but Boudoir, so we do a Dark Night and a lot of by Cupid from 4K Glitter to get a little bit more of that bright red, if you will, to make this color stand out from that second red color. So this is what everything looks like, and now it's time to get the tape from the opposite side of the cup removed to expose that beautiful tie-dye on the other side. You guys know that we want to wait for your glitter to be completely dry, your Mod Podge, but before you go in with your coats of epoxy, make sure that you brush off any of the extra glitter and then seal it multiple times with clear glass spray paint and then put it back on your turner for a couple coats of epoxy until smooth. And of course, now it's on to sanding. So I'm going to use a combination, as usual, of a sanding block as well as my nail file sanding tool that I like to use for the top rim. So get a nice smooth cut before you move on to your decals and your vinyl striping. So I'm going to use some washi tape to be my vinyl striping for today. So I have this like brown bronze color. It came in a pack of like metallic colors. So I'll list them down in the description box. I got them from Hobby Lobby. And so I'm just going to line the stripes here on the one side with this beautiful brown metallic color of washi tape here. I really love using washi tape for my vinyl lines, even though it means I have to do, you know, a little bit of sealing to make sure I don't get any repelling with my epoxy. I really just love doing this versus having to cut them on my Cricut. It just saves me a lot of time. On the seams here, I'm going to use this metallic orange color that came in a beautiful rainbow pack of washi tape from Hobby Lobby. I'll link that pack as well down in the description box. So we're just going to line those up. Of course, cut off any of the excess on the edges. And then we're going to go into sealing the washi tape. So washi tape, as I mentioned, tends to repel epoxy. So to kind of avoid that, I like to seal my washi tape with some polyacrylic. So this is the Minwax polyacrylic that I always use. I'll link it down in the description box. I like to use this to seal in my washi tape or any of my holographic sort of decals, because then I can make sure that I don't get any epoxy repelling. After the polyacrylic dried, I did add a very thin coat of epoxy to the top of my cup here because we're going to add a little bit of extra glitter. So I already have a thin layer of epoxy on my cup here, which is why it's a bit shiny, and I'm using a couple of glitters here to kind of spruce up these sections. So this first one is a Fall Leaves blend from my Lysha Creations. I'll link it down in the description box. It has like these really beautiful like red, orange, and gold leaves, and so I'm using those to just very carefully place with my tweezers there some of those leaves in the darker red sections. Then on the flip side, I'm going to add a little bit of the mixes that I added just to sprinkle in. This is the darkest red, not Boudoir, but that second dark red color I'm going in with, and then I go in with the lighter red, and finally I'm going in with a little bit of mix of that sort of Clary, Fray, and Fairy Dust mix of orange. I then am taking one of my favorite gold colors. This is vintage from Peachy Olive Glitters, and I'm just sprinkling that in as well, just to give kind of a little bit of texture and fun to this side. In my Facebook group, we actually did sort of that needle nose tip bottle technique over the full wrap tie-dye, which I'll hopefully snag a picture and put that in at the end as well. But that's what I did for the Facebook group, and so I really wanted to spruce up this tie-dye side as well. So now we've moved on to decals. I will list the decals that I got and used from Creative Fabrica down in the description box. This one was a little bit difficult to work with. I printed it or cut it with my Cricut on the foil, the Cricut gold foil textured metallic that I love. So this one was actually spelled wrong, so I had to actually create my own hello. So I'll definitely link one that is a little bit better and easier spelled. That way you guys don't have to kind of make your own. This backside is going to get just the sort of white flannel blankets, pumpkin sweaters, and bonfires, because we're going to layer on top of this a little bit of a couple sheets of Waterslide to really bring those colors, so I didn't have to do all the weeding with the vinyl work. So this is what it looks like after decals, and so now we're going to go ahead and get the Waterslide applied. So like I mentioned, this, you could easily cut this using vinyl, but I didn't want to have to do all that weeding of vinyl, so I decided to just do sort of the hack that I've showed you guys before in a previous tutorial, where you sort of do it as a cut file and have it print or cut on white, and then you layer on top your Waterslide, which has all the vibrant colors. So that's what I did with this, and so what I am doing here is I'm just going to layer on top my sheets of Waterslide. So you'll notice that today I'm going to use 2 sheets of Waterslide, and this is because I really want this to be super vibrant. So sometimes when you are doing sort of this technique, or even if you're doing this over just a light base and you really want your Waterslide to be vibrant, you can easily do that by just layering multiple of the same image on top of one another, and it really makes those colors super vibrant and really pop. So definitely another technique that you can use if you're someone like me who, if we can avoid doing all of the hand weeding, then I'm all for it. So Waterslide is definitely my go-to. So after I finished applying those 2 Waterslides and squeegeeing out the water, I just take a coffee filter and very carefully just sort of squeegee out any of the excess water in between the 2 images. Then this goes back on the turner for 2 final coats of epoxy, and then it was done. So this is the final look at the cup, and here is a look at the cup that we made in my Facebook group. I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's tutorial. If you did, give this video a huge thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!